daddy ko hindi marunong magalit, hindi nagagalit yun eh. He would never really get angry, he'd never lose it. He'd never really lose it. So, he would never lose his temper. So yeah, he would always sit down, talk to you, say, that's no good. You know? And I try, but I'm not as, I guess I'm not as controlled as my dad. So sometimes, you know, I get nuts, you know. But then I always make sure at some point that we sit down and talk about it.
You sent your boys to England, boarding school, at a young age. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was so hard for
11, right?
They were 11 when they
Yeah.
went, yeah.
Aren't you afraid that they might lose touch of their what you call this masa touch, and they will not become a politician like you?
Do you see them being politicians?
They don't have to be a politician if they don't want to. If they want to, they it's fine.
So growing up, do you feel any pressure that you had to get into politics one day?
Constantly, and real serious pressure. Oh, we put your name up for to be assemblyman. I said, I don't want to be assemblyman. But it's already there. No, I'm not going. If you make me one, I'm not going to show up. I don't want.
So what happened to you, di ba? When you were at Wharton, your name was put in as a vice governor of...
Yeah, my father calls me and he says, we put you as a candidate for vice governor. I said, Dad, why? So because your aunt is not feeling well. She's feeling poorly. And she might have to resign, to resign because of her health. And Ilocos, it always has to be a family member at least there. So you're it.
Wow, those are very big shoes to fill.
Yeah, they are. But you know, you just plod on and do your best and hope that things work out. And thankfully they did. But then, you know, being governor in 1984, I must have had the easiest governor job in the country. Because anything I needed, Dad, Dad, sa Ilocos may kailangan, ganito, ganyan. And they'll always find it. You know, first it's me asking, so siyempre malakas ako sa tatay ko. Second, it's Ilocos Norte, you know, so it would always be looked upon favorably. Not that I got everything we asked for, but it would always be looked upon favorably.
So when you were a young boy, being a Marcos was an easy thing to be. I mean, you were able to get things done in Ilocos at a young age. But your sons are carrying the Marcos name now. What is it like for them?
I think, well, you know, when they're very little, it really doesn't matter because they don't take in. But you know, they get to a certain point where they read their newspaper, they read. So these questions come up. Why? What's all this about? Why do people say these things? And because they're Marcos, they have to explain. And that's the explanation. I remember when they were growing up, I would ask Amy and Irene, what do you tell you? Because their kids were older. Yeah. So they had gone through it. So I asked them, what do you tell them? I go, just tell them the truth. You just tell them what happened to us. And so that's what I did. I said, this is what happened. We're in politics. Of course, these are our political detractors. Of course, they won't say anything nice about us. They know how to handle it. Maybe it will be more difficult as they get older. I don't know. But I think for now, they're okay. They know how to deal with all of this hullabaloo that surrounds my family.
What do you tell your kids about their lolo?
Well, every time it comes up, I just nothing particular. Just make cuento. I try to talk about what he was like with us. You know, for the president stuff. Okay, that's all there. We can talk about that too. But you must know him for what he was as a man, as a person, as a dad.
I'm sure you have a lot of these, but maybe you can name one particular, your fondest memory growing up with your dad.
It's funny because there were big moments, right, in the time that we were living in the palace. But the one thing that I always remember fondly are those times when we were sitting around the dinner table, just being silly and laughing and making cuento and what happened. And because it was so rare, we were hardly ever 5 of us in the palace at one time. The 3 of us were studying, and of course my father was so busy, my mother was always traveling. So every once in a while, nagkakatugma, everybody's there.
I was wondering, since your father's death, did you ever feel his spirit? Or did he ever communicate with you?
He promised he would. I'm still waiting.
Yeah?
Yeah. They had these discussions, strangely enough. We're such a strange family. He said, when I die, I'm going to try and come back and contact you people. Talking, me and my sisters, sige, if you do that, mumultihin ka ni Daddy. And I'm saying, yeah, sure, good. I can't wait. I'd love to see him, But I suppose not in that ghosty sense, really. But I always feel his presence, especially considering the work I do is exactly the same sector as he was. There, I always feel his presence in everything that I do in terms of politics. Put it this way, I think of him every single day. There not a day passes that he doesn't come into my mind and I think something about my dad.
Father's Day is coming up. So how do you plan to spend Father's Day?
My kids are in school, and Lisa's away. So I guess I'll find some other orphan fathers, and we'll probably have dinner somewhere. But I'm hoping to hear from the boys, and that would be good enough for me. I'm not proud. I'm cheap.
Aw, well, thank you so much, Senator Bongbong. It was a very, very fun and interesting interview.
That's
Yes,
true.
it was.
Thank you.
We must have been having fun because
Yeah.
time has flown. It's already half an hour.
And from all of us, advance Happy Father's Day.
Maraming
Happy
salamat.
Father's
Thank
Day.
you very
Well,
much.
the episode may be up, but the fun never stops in the world of fashion, lifestyle, and A-listers.
Plus corporate hookups and breakups.
We'll have more stories to tell.
And more buzz to bear, so see you again next week for another awesome round of
Cocktales.
Well, it was obviously fun because the time flew by. In fact, it was so much fun. I would say it was worth missing lunch for.